Greetings, everyone. Greetings, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful, y'all. I'm your hostess and your melanated queen, Lil Foxy, aka Seventh Wonder. First of all, I want to say Heute is Dienstag. Today is Tuesday, everyone, September 30th, 2025. Hope you all are having an amazing, blessed day today. Before we get to it, I just want to give a special shout out to anyone that has ever lost someone close to them. This can be a relative or anybody in your family, because I know that grief does not go away easily or overnight. And I was actually talking to one of my clients last night. And if you don't remember, she lost her dog, Sydney, and she's been grieving, and she really sounded down and out. And unfortunately, she said whenever she comes in the house, even though Sydney was a dog, it feels like a whole human being that's missing, y'all. So pets really can have an impact on our lives. And I know that a lot of people get devastated when they lose their pets. Not just that, if you have lost a relative or a family member, my condolences to you, because that's not easy either. People face some very tragic things out here in life. And instead of people being more compassionate and considerate, people have gone mad and crazy in this world. So I am actually going to look over this article. If you all did not know, Trump is calling a secret meeting with all the top generals in the army, you all, in the military, might I add. So let's go ahead and get to it, everybody. Hello, everybody that's out there. Glad to see you all in the building. And we're going to keep today's stream respectful. We're not going to have a bunch of nonsense. We're not going to have a bunch of nonsense today. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. So if I don't read comments, it's because I'm really focused on what I'm doing and reading this information, y'all. This right here says Trump. Hegseth addresses the U.S. military leaders at Quantico. All right. So President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth will speak to military generals and admirals in Quantico, Virginia on Tuesday in the a.m. So this is going down, you all. It's probably taking place right now as we speak. Hold on. What's going on with this screen, y'all? Can y'all see this? I want to make sure y'all can see it. It looks like y'all can see it. All right. It is very rare for such a large meeting of top officers in person in one location, and the timing was also unusual. Now, I asked my daddy what his thoughts were about this, and he did not think it was a good idea to have all of these top people in one area because it leaves the rest of the areas vulnerable, right? And he thought this was not a good idea to do this. But we don't know what the secret meeting is about. This is very rare, and they're bringing together senior military leadership would typically take months to plan, and prior notice would have to be given well in advance, as officers could be coming in from overseas. While mystery surrounds the event, Trump described it to NBC as really just a very nice meeting, talking about how well we're doing militarily. I'm not buying that, y'all. I don't believe that he's calling this secret meeting just to talk about how well the military is doing. I don't believe that at all, because I was listening in and somebody said, well, don't they have other means of communication to get this resolved? If you want to talk about how well we're doing, there are other communication systems. You don't have to come together to talk about how well they're doing. The gathering is scheduled to begin at 8:15 a.m. EDT. Watch the live video above, y'all. Hold on. Let's keep going. A lot of pop-ups are here. All right, let's keep going, y'all. There was another article that I also saw, but he's receiving criticism for this, y'all. I don't know what the meeting is about, but chances are it is not what he told us. I can tell you that. It's not what he told us. It's got to be about something else. And I think they're trying to keep this meeting secretive. I don't think they want the public knowing. And there's some other videos that are talking about it. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up for you as well. Let's see, Trump meeting. Here it is. So let's hear what people have to say about it. Okay, here we go. Let me go ahead and share this. All right, here we go. They said they've never seen anything like this, you all. This is what is being reported.
Hundreds of top military.
All right.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered hundreds of top military leaders to gather at a Marine Corps base in Virginia next week. It's not clear why the meeting has been called. More than a dozen people familiar with the matter telling the Washington Post the directive was sent to nearly every top U.S. military commander around the world. That includes officials in conflict zones stationed throughout Europe, the Middle East, and the Asia-Pacific region. According to the Post, every source it spoke with said it could not recall a defense secretary ever ordering such a large gathering of military leaders on such short notice. Joining us now, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Mark Hertling and President Emeritus of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haass. Good morning to you both. General, I'll start with you. First of all, how unusual is this in your experience, and what do you suspect is going on here?
Yeah, Willie, if this is usual and this is unusual, we're way out in terms of unusual in this one. It is never, that I know of, ever occurred in the history of the military where everyone is brought in. Now, certainly during wartime, generals commanding in a theater are brought in individually with their team, or the president or the secretary of defense visits them at their theater of operation. But I've never seen anything like this before, and it just seems extremely bizarre and strange.
Well, General, let me just ask you strategically, how stupidly dangerous is this?
That's another point that my father was making. He feels like this could put the country in a vulnerable state, and it could put our country at risk by doing this.
It's pretty dangerous, Joe. What I'd say is, a lot of people are looking at it from the general's perspective, them thinking, what the heck are we going to hear? Because I don't think from what I've talked to some of my colleagues that are still active, they don't know what this is about. So it could be about a shifting national security strategy. It could be cuts to the General Officer Corps. Secretary Hegseth has mentioned that several times. It could be about the upcoming budget stalemate, or it could be concerns over information leaks or press leaks.
But General, don't they have communication systems where they can do that so we can actually keep our generals and our admirals in the field where they are needed?
Certainly, Joe, and they're called secure video teleconferences. It is the same thing as a secure computer, not Snapchat, not Signals app. This is no kidding secure stuff. It's just like a SIPR computer. But the problem is, when you move that many general officers to Washington, it's not just the generals that are concerned. I would suggest that both our allies and our foes are thinking to themselves, what the hell is going on in Washington?
My sentiments exactly.
Okay. When a general comes into the Pentagon to talk to his boss, the Secretary of Defense, no one really knows it. There may be indicators. But when you're talking about publicizing over 800 senior leaders, commanders, as well as their senior enlisted advisors, their sergeant majors or their Navy chief petty officers, this is something that's going to garner attention, where people are going to say, what's going on with the U.S. military? What are they planning? Why is this so important that you're pulling 800, as suggested by the Washington Post, or more into the Washington, D.C. area? It's undescribable.
Yeah, and it's not just foreign militaries that are confused. Our own military is confused. Talking to some of these generals who have no idea why this is happening and are not sure why there's such secrecy. But we should note this. The military has different levels of classification. This one, we are told, is being deemed a secret level, which is not the highest level, because there had been some speculation considering our force posture outside Venezuela and the attacks on boats there. Could this be some sort of operational planning meeting? That seems unlikely, because it would be classified at a higher level, Richard Haass. So there's some speculation in Washington, people I talked to yesterday who were downright puzzled at this. that this could be just sort of almost like a pep talk. We know that Defense Secretary Hegseth is one of the things President Trump likes about him most is he's very good on Fox News and the like. The language about war fighters, a lot of it's PR campaign. And there's a suggestion here, taken in tandem with the edict from the Pentagon last week about reporters there only reporting on things the Pentagon tells them to. That this might be just a messaging meeting, but a very, very strange one.
And I think that's
All right. So it sounds like at this point, there's only speculation. We really don't know what's going down right now. And they are meeting in Quantico right now as we speak. So I guess we will find out some details later on. Hopefully we'll get some answers as, you know, the public citizens of this country and the American people, y'all. There are a lot of things going on all across the country. Also, y'all, we got to talk about the fact that there was a mass shooting at a church, everyone. A mass shooting at a church. This was a Texas male that was retaliating, unfortunately, for the trying to avenge the alleged death of Charlie Kirk, y'all. It's just so much going on in this country, man. And instead of people coming together in unity, it seems like they're just becoming more and more divisive, unfortunately. That seems to be the scenario that's taking place here. You know, he shot up what is it called? A Mormon church, everybody. So it seems like 5 people passed away, 8 people were injured, and this happened at the Grand Blanc Church. FBI calls it a targeted violence. So a targeted violence, would this be some act of terrorism? You said it was a Mormon church. Think it was a mega man? Okay. So I think he was trying to avenge the death of Charlie Kirk when he did this, according to what the reports are saying. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to play this video for y'all. And what's good, Lonesome Dove?
7 News Detroit this morning starts right now with a breaking news alert.
We begin with that breaking news out of Grand Blanc Township. A mass shooting and fire at a church has left at least 4 people dead and 8 others injured. The shooter is also dead.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm Kiera Hay.
And I'm Allie Hoxie. The shooting happened just before 10:30 yesterday morning at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The suspect is accused of ramming his truck into the building, setting the church on fire and opening fire at parishioners.
It makes no sense. It never will make sense why this kind of thing happens.
Now look at this. So he set a church on fire and shot them up. Let me look at the comment section for just a second. Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen, Lonesome Dove. Guten Morgen to all the Leute out there. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Suits Deluxe. I agree wholeheartedly. I'm going to pin your comment. Yes, the Civil War has already started. My melanated people huddle up, separate from them quickly, and operate in unity, y'all. The news I saw said that the motive has to do with his hate for Christianity. Okay, let me see what they're saying in this news article. Well, on this news bit right here.
Well, now this small knit community is trying to put the pieces back together. We have 7 News Detroit's anchor Keenan
Wow,
Smith.
I didn't realize that the church was that massive either.
Was live outside of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints this morning as we try to dig for some more information. Keenan, what are you seeing right now and what have you learned?
Oh, well, the scene behind me has been busy through the overnight hours and this morning. I'd like to step aside and allow you to see what I can see from here, which sadly is just some slivers of the chars of that building there where this tragedy took place. Also, we can see the blue truck that is certainly going to be the subject of a lot of questions and focal point of this investigation this morning. That blue truck adorned with flags is the truck that investigators say Thomas Jacob Sanford used to ram the truck, then got out and then opened fire on the people inside that church and then set fire to the building. Now, we've been here through a good portion of the night, and we saw investigators and fire crews coming and going throughout the night. We also saw fire crews here with a couple of trucks departing at about 3:30 this morning, roughly 17.
Okay, let's look into Thomas Jacob Sanford, you all. Let's look into this guy. All right, so here is a picture of Thomas Jacob Sanford. And this happened in Michigan, everyone. A Michigan church shooting. The suspect is Thomas Sanford. Said that he hated the Mormons, y'all. So the worst thing you can do is call a Nazi. Okay. So here's the thing. It says that he had a past relationship with a Mormon woman and called religion the Antichrist, y'all. It is not funny. I'm not laughing at what happened, but this is insanity. This is insanity. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's keep reading. What in the freaking world? Thomas Jacob Sanford, the suspected gunman, accused of taking out 4 people. They said, I think it's more than that, 5 people, I think, total, and injuring 8 in a shooting at a Michigan church, referred to Mormons as the Antichrist just days before the attack. He said he had American flags on the truck he rammed into the church. I saw, Antonio. It says, city council candidates Chris Johns from nearby Burton, Michigan, said he met Sanford while campaigning, during which he expressed prejudice against the Mormon church. Sanford previously lived in Utah. Oh boy, here's Utah again, y'all. Here it is again. And had a relationship there, which ended painfully with a Mormon woman, the New York Times reports. It kept going to, they're trying to put people above Jesus and they're not Christians. He did make the statement that Mormons are the Antichrist, Johns told the Detroit News. Police say Sanford, a former Marine who was deployed to Iraq in 2007, rammed his truck into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township on Sunday, set fire to the building and shot at worshipers. He went out of this world in a shootout with the police. Y'all, he went out. I mean, he didn't go down without a fight. He went out in warfare. His father has since told the Detroit Free Press, "I feel terrible about all the families that have been hurt and they're under the same crap that I'm going under, that my wife and I are going under. I apologize for that." What we know so far about Sanford's former relationship with a Mormon woman. Thomas Jacob Sanford previously lived in Utah and dated a woman there. Okay, they fell in love, but the relationship ended painfully, according to the outlet. Let me see here. When Sanford returned to Michigan after the relationship, he was in a rough shape, his friend said. Sandra Winter, who rented a room to Sanford in Utah, also told the Times that he had dated an extremely religious woman and that he felt pressure to join the church. He wasn't so sure that he wanted to become a member of the church, she said, but he really wanted to be with this woman. Police have yet to confirm Sanford's motive. However, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt told Fox and Friends on Monday that investigators believe Sanford hated people of the Mormon faith. Oh boy. So the friend said the gunman's time in the military changed him. After leaving the Marines, Sanford went to live in Jeremy's Ranch, Utah, where he became romantically involved with a woman who was a devout follower of the Mormon church. His brother said the gunman would talk endlessly about Mormons and that he also became a heavy user of methamphetamines. All right. And the relationship ended painfully. He got his whole fascination with Mormons, and they are the Antichrist, and they're going to take over the world. All he could talk about was Mormons. I was like, dude, nobody wants to hear about this stuff, Francis said. 2 of those who were wounded are aspiring doctors who sprang into action to help the injured. 2 of those wounded in Sunday's attack are aspiring doctors, Jared Hicken and S. Bridger Hampton. Both are 4-year emergency residents at Henry Ford Genesis in Grand Blanc, Michigan. GoFundMe page has been set up and they've raised over $50,000. Not only were the were they victims, but they also sprang into action, helping others amidst the danger, smoke, and confusion, the page says. So this is about his family. They are stunned ice fishing buddies of Michigan church shooter left in disbelief. One former acquaintance of Thomas Jacob called him a good guy, saying, oh, he's a good guy, y'all, saying she and her husband who worked with him were shocked to hear his name read on the news. Here's Justin's exclusive reporting on the shocked reaction to Sunday's events from the suspect's friends and neighbors. So they're in disbelief, y'all. They didn't think that this would happen. Let's see what y'all are saying in the comment section. Hold on, y'all. It's just always something going on out here, isn't it? You said the worst thing you can do is call him a Nazi. He had American flags in the truck. Yeah. Here's the thing, too, about the Mormon church, y'all. So I don't know if you watched one of my prior videos, but Mormons, what they teach is basically white supremacy in the Mormon church. Okay, if you don't believe me, you can listen to the Caucasian lady who is an ex-member of the Mormon who talked about it. Okay, ex-Mormon member of the church. And she's, you know, a white lady that's giving her experience and why she left. Okay. And she talked about it being a cult. She talked about the fact that they would teach them that if you are a melanated person or of African descent, then basically it is believed that you are cursed. So I don't know what's going on with these people in these churches thinking that they are going to be saved, thinking that they are pure-hearted, when clearly a lot of these religious sanctuaries are cults. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that they still can't believe and practice what they want, but is it righteous? Not in my opinion. Not in my opinion at all. I'm going to try to find this lady's video, and I'm going to try to play that for y'all. Because, you know, a lot of people don't understand that these things do go on. And, you know, a lot of evil takes place, even in churches, you all. So you have to follow your own gift of discernment that the spiritual creator put into us all. We know right from wrong. We know when we're hurting people. We know when things are taught to us that should not be exercised, right? Now, let me find this lady, ex-Mormon member. Okay. I don't know if her channel's going to pop up on here. I might have to look under one of my other pages. He said, it's still tragic, Antonio. Dangerous conversations, lady. I think the danger is at the church, and whatever the conversations are going on in the church are dangerous. Cass CD. Why burn it down? That's a demon. Chandler Thomas. I didn't say that he should have burned it down. You're asking me, why did he burn it down? He burned it down because he said that he had a very painful relationship with a Mormon woman. Now, I'm talking about the teachings that goes on in these Mormon churches. As Jesus warned, many will be told, I never knew you. Okay, y'all. So a lot of people are very passionate about their beliefs and their religions. But here's the thing that I want to ask people. If we were born into this world and never introduced to religious practices, how would we behave? How would we act? What would we think? What would be our actions? What would be the rhetoric before religion came into, you know, indoctrination? What would people be doing, you all? Did you ever think about that? That's something that I wonder about that. You said you can call this guy MAGA or Republican, but you can't point to any Republican ideas that would encourage someone to shoot up a church. His politics is irrelevant in this case. Studenheim, I am reading the article, okay? And I am playing the news video that related all of this together. So it's not me, it's the media that stated this. You said, I think there will be more occurrences like this, Marvin. Unfortunately, so. I do think that this is going to spark other people to do the same. Unfortunately, people only care because it finally wasn't a mosque or a black church, says Antonio. Very interesting. Because we know that people have been doing this to churches in the past. There have been, I mean, this has been going on for decades, y'all. And there have been innocent children, you all, that also have been unalived in churches. It is so sad. It is so sad, and people don't talk about it. Now, I did play a video on my channel, and I'm going to try to find the video where we were discussing one of the Mormon members that actually left that church. Okay. Let me see. Here it is. I'm going to pull this video up and see if I can find the lady. Okay, here she is. So this is the ex-Mormon member, you all. She's going to give her account of what they teach in these churches. Okay, so just a moment. All right, I'm going to let her tell her experience. All right, because this is her own experience. This is not me stating it. This is this lady telling her experience. And I wish I could find her exact video, but I can't find it right now. So I'm just going to play what I played before. To a hate group, you all. All right, and let's go ahead and play the video.
Every one of my aunts and uncles and my cousins and, you know, my mom and my grandparents and everybody, this was their absolute reality too. Okay, so here's what I believed about race. You have to go way back to the past life, which Mormons call the pre-existence. If you just Google Mormon pre-existence, and you can read all about that. I believed that I was literally birthed by one of the heavenly mothers and Heavenly Father, Elohim God, and that we lived in a life before we gained earth bodies where we could make choices and we had our personalities and our passions. Like the person that I am today, that's who I was in this past life. And all of God's spirit children were being born into this past life until he had amassed, you know, billions and billions of people. And at that point, God, who was white, the heavenly mothers who were white, they called together all of the spirit children in what's called the council in heaven. And in this council in heaven, God told us that he wanted us to become a God like himself. And in order to do so, we'd have to come to earth, gain physical bodies. And if we passed the test, that we could come back to him and be gods and goddesses just like him and his heavenly wives. So God presents this plan for us to become like him. And his two sons volunteered to play a really pivotal role of savior. God wanted us to have free choice, and to do so, he'd have to have a sacrifice in the form of one of his children giving up their lives and also being that exemplar for everybody. So Jesus came forward, and Lucifer, who would later become Satan, and they had opposing views. All of us spirit children chose sides. 2/3 of us went with Jesus, and 1/3 of God's children went with Satan. Well, they lost the war, so they were cast out. They never see bodies. They can never become gods. And they are now these satanic forces that rule over the world, led by Satan. But of those 2/3, there were part of them that were kind of apathetic, kind of fence sitters was a word that one of the Mormon prophets used to describe them. And another phrase that the Mormon prophets used to describe these people who, like, they got to stay in heaven, they got to come down to earth, and they hadn't quite followed Satan, but they weren't the best spirit children of God. The phrase that the Mormon prophets used for them is less valiant. They were less valiant in their past life. And so what happened to those people, according to what my church taught me, was they were cursed to be born to African families. And here's why being born to African families was such a curse.
All right. So basically, they're trying to say that if you were born into African descent, then that meant that you basically did something wrong and it was a curse or an abomination. All right. So let's make no mistake about it. This is what people truly do believe. And these are practices that go on in these families. This is why whenever you try to share or tell your experience to these people, you're never going to get through to them. Okay. That's never going to happen because they are trained to think the way that they think. And so Charlie Kirk never spoke about about this, right? Okay. So that, you all, is an ex-Mormon giving you her experience on what she went through at this Mormon church, okay? And she's an ex-Mormon member. So, like I said, a lot of these religious practices, a lot of these churches, a lot of these belief systems are cult-like. And I'm not saying that I'm excusing the actions of what he did, but these acts of violence has been taking place for decades. He rammed his vehicle into the church and then shot up the people and set it on fire, y'all. Very violent behavior, very violent behavior. He said it's still tragic, dangerous conversation. Why burn it down? Let me see. You say you're telling me that that's a demon? I think he allowed Chandler Thomas, he allowed a demon to take hold of him in that moment. And y'all, I do believe that demons can jump into people's bodies that are susceptible and prone to these demons. I think that if you participate in drug use and drinking, which is why they call the liquor store spirits, when you drink liquor, because you're opening yourself up to spiritual entities. And they said that he had a methamphetamine problem as well. So I'm not sure how true this is. I'm just telling you what they're saying in the news, y'all. You said, protect her, Jesus, send your angels to place, protect her and her family. Religion is a tool of the devil, says Mark. Yes, you can. Donald Trump calls for violence all the time, says Antonio. Let me see. Reg 3305, you sound very bothered right now. And I would feel sorry for your family that you even exist on this earth. That's who I feel sorry for. So you want your comment pinned? I'm gonna let everybody see how ignorant you look. Okay. Let's keep going. You said you're a demon and possessed. God sees your vile lies. It's a sick thing. God is watching you. Captain, I don't really know who you're talking about, but the fact that I'm reporting the news, and this is what's coming straight from the news, you're saying that I'm reporting lies. Why don't you go get mad at the news media and this Mormon lady that shared her account and her experience? You said, I trust the media. I am going off of what this lady said. I'm going off of the fact that we actually saw that church burning. We saw that truck sitting out there. I don't trust everything that the news pushes. No, I don't. And I've spoken about that on the channel. But y'all seem triggered because I'm talking about it. If you have an issue with what the news is saying, or with what this Mormon lady is saying, you need to address the source from which it is deriving. Okay? What is possessing people to do this so often, Chandler Thomas? It is in their nature. So if you think about the savagery and some of these people that are coming into the chat section that's defending, the antics of this person, and they're actually attacking me for the behavior of one of their own, it is their savage nature. And I believe that the universe and the spirits, the angels, the ancestors, and our divine creators are getting tired of these savages. And so now they're attacking one another and they're getting mad at us for talking about it, right? So this is white on white violence that nobody is speaking of, but they always like to come over here talking about black on black violence, gang violence, right? Charlie Kirk's last words out of his mouth were about gang violence, right? And as soon as he uttered those words, what happened? Attack in the neck, right? And I see the actual analogy with that, because basically being shot in the neck, it's like your throat chakra is cut off. And then he was wearing a freedom shirt. So what are they saying? It's an attack on free speech. So because I'm sitting here talking about what they're doing to one another, a lot of them are triggered, and that's just the nature of what they always do, Chandler Thomas. This is what's possessing them. They have demonic entities that have taken a hold of them. The people that say that they're so heavily Christian-like and involved in following Jesus and this church and this heaven that they have founded for themselves, that they think they're going to dwell in forever after they leave this earth. They think they're going to go to this heavenly paradise. the hate in which they, derive from and that they continue to walk in is not going to allow them to get to that place. But they have, told themselves that this is what is going to happen because they like to lie to themselves and everybody else across the world. So Chandler, I hope that answers your question. Okay, so you sound like you can't spell Captain Britain. Ignorant, first of all, is not a word. So go back to school and get some education. All right, and now I'm going to ignore a lot of the ignore a lot of the ignorance, because today I just don't really feel like going back and forth with a lot of hostility and a lot of people that are not even on my level to have an educational discourse, or even they don't have the ability to have an adult dialogue with me, and they are really not worthy of my time or my attention or my energy. So I'm going to keep them right where they belong and pay them what they're worth, which is nothing. So if I scroll past your comment and you go unread, you're going to stay that way. All right. Yeah, they're very nasty, Chandler. Very nasty. And so, like I said, the best thing they can do is attack us for reporting on what they're doing to one another. So if I came on here and I was attacking Black people, because if you ever watch this channel, you're probably new here, so welcome. But I talk about the things that goes on within the melanated community all the time. I talk about my experiences that I've actually had with melanated individuals, specifically melanated females. We need to actually do better, come together in unity, stop with the hatred, stop with the jealousy of one another, stop with this Willie Lynch syndrome, which I've already talked about on this channel several times. Stop with, these Sambo behaviors, because I also see that there are people that are perpetuating Charlie Kirk as if he's a saint, as if he's Jesus, as if he, basically gives them life. And he was none of the such. He was a person walking on this earth just like everyone else. I didn't really see anything special about him. The only way I found out about him is because they kept shoving him down our throats on social media. So I decided to look into him. And because now people are acting out following the rhetoric of, what Charlie Kirk stood for. And basically, they're upset and they need someone to blame. But, the antics that took place with Charlie Kirk was done by one of their own. This whole church situation was done by one of their own. Now we're going to explore some more of their savage natures. Okay, some more of their savagery. Let's keep going, y'all. Because, this white on white crime definitely needs to be spoken about and it needs to stop. They just, keep doing this to each other. And I really hope they get some help and figure out why they keep doing this. But like I just explained it to you, this is their nature. All right. Let's see here. Let's go to this one. This was a North Carolina mass shooting by one of their very own, by the way. So like I said, when they KILL, they do it in a very large scale. It is done in droves. It's on a mass level, you all. And they've been doing it for weeks now. I mean, it's like I can't even keep up with everything that's going on. As soon as I talk about one thing, it's like they've done something else. And I mean, what is really going on here? All right, so let's go ahead and share the screen. There was a deadly mass shooting at the waterfront bar, you all. This happened near Wilmington, North Carolina. Shout out to North Carolina, by the way. Okay, this is the gunman, everybody. Look at this white on white crime. The gunman shot into the crowd, y'all. Let's hear what happened. And look at this lady that has to report on this white on white violence. I'm just so sorry that she has to go through this.
Shooting at a waterfront bar in North Carolina. A suspect allegedly opened fire from a boat into a crowd, killing at least 3 people and injuring 5 others. Authorities describe the victims as vacationers visiting the bar 30 miles south of Wilmington. Police say it was a highly premeditated attack. ABC's Faith Abube is on the scene tonight.
Tonight, authorities say a deadly mass shooting that left 3 people dead and 5 others injured at a North Carolina bar Saturday night was a highly premeditated attack.
Evil has come ashore
in Southport, North Carolina. This is truly a devastating incident.
Investigators say people were out on the deck at the waterfront bar in Southport enjoying live music when the suspect, armed with an assault rifle, pulled up on a boat and opened fire from the water.
Reports came in rapidly of a boat sitting in the waterway.
So, you know what? It's not funny because people actually lost their lives. What I am laughing at is the fact that he is this deranged to be sitting in a boat in water where you're supposed to be relaxing. Why are you so mad and upset? You're sitting in a boat. Obviously, you should be enjoying yourselves, but you want to sit up there and attack people at a bar. Like, we can't even fathom this type of cognitive disillusion, because it's like my brain doesn't work that way. Like, I don't think about going out and savagely attacking people. Yeah, and it was premeditated. So you're asking me, Chandler, like, honestly, this is the nature of some of them. And if you really go back into their history, they've been doing this to each other since the beginning of their existence.
Reports of a subject shooting multiple patrons of the establishment.
About a half hour later, authorities say they closed in on the suspect, Nigel Edge, who fled on his boat to a nearby town. They say he was loading up at a boat access. According to investigators, Edge, a known resident in Oak Island, self-identifies as a combat veteran and told police he suffers from PTSD. Today, residents in the small coastal town.
So he has an excuse, you all. The excuse is that he suffers from PTSD. That's his excuse. The other guy, they said he was also in the military. So they're going to use the fact that they were in the military as a way to justify the violence. I don't know, y'all. I'm just asking these questions.
To remember the victims at the popular local bar turned crime scene.
He really was shooting fish in a barrel. Because if you ever look out there, it's a pier where the end is, and his boat was right out there. And there's nowhere for anybody to go.
And Lindsay, many of the victims were visitors just here on vacation. Investigators have charged that suspect. He's being held in jail without bond and is expected to appear before a judge tomorrow. The DA's office is considering the death penalty.
To a deadly mass shooting at a waterfront.
Y'all, like I said, I don't know what's gotten into these people, y'all. But I'm just, reporting on what they said took place. Now, we know all news is not real news, right? We know all news can't be trusted, but I don't think that they're making this up, right? I really do think this man shot these people at this bar from a waterfront. I do believe that. You don't have to believe it. Every time there's one of their own, they come up with these excuses, they backtrack, they backpedal. So is the news real when black on black crime is a thing, or is the news real when white on white crime is a thing? Because the hypocrisy of it all has me a little baffled and confused. Which one do you want to believe? Now, I do believe that you have to use your gift of discernment, because we know that they orchestrate narratives all the time. I think the Charlie Kirk thing was an orchestration. I also believe that either it was an inside job by his own people, or he faked his own death and demise, right? That takes place too. And we all know that they also play characters, right? The world is a stage. A lot of politics is staged. A lot of the sports teams and football games and NBA basketball games are staged as well. People don't know that. Even wrestling is staged, y'all. So, silly rabbit tricks are for kids. Oh, boy. Okay, so Tricia said President Trump does not call for violence. Once he said fight, 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 it was in regard to saving our nation. Do you think he's saving the nation? I'm wondering what your thoughts are. Do you think that's what this secret meeting in Quantico is about, saving the nation? You said when the shooting happened, people on social media all accused the Muslims. Did they? OJ, I'm sorry. Oh, you said when the shooting happened, people on social media all accused the Muslims after finding out he is white. Everyone now is silent. Imagine how they would react if the shooter was a black was Black or Muslim. Interesting. I remember when 9/11 happened, Muslims and people of that, Middle Eastern descent, they were definitely perpetuated in a certain light. The narrative was that this happened from Osama bin Laden, and this was all in the name of religion, and they took over the plane with box cutters. I don't believe that. Watch Fahrenheit 9/11, watch Michael Moore. He did documentaries about it in plain sight. Watch it if you haven't watched it. It's very old now. But they always, perpetuate issues like that and blame in the name of religion, you all. Now, I do believe there are some people that are practicing insane behavior out here, and they will take out people in what they believe. I do think that goes on. I think that's a very dangerous mindset to have. So like I said, the universe, the spirits, the angels, and our divine creators are getting sick and tired of these degenerates, the people that practice these type of behaviors, and they are unaliving their own. So the judgment is taking place. Melanated people stand down. We don't need to get involved in their antics. All we're doing is talking and having a dialogue and a discourse about it. And they're becoming very irate, hostile, and belligerent. And really, instead of them holding a mirror up to themselves, they try to basically paint us into their narrative for why they are destroying one another, right? But when, you can't handle the truth and you lie and you steal and you pillage and you create false narratives, which you claim the Bible talks about these things there, thou shalt not bear false witness, but they still lie about history. They are bearing false witness. So this Christian religion and these religions they claim they believe, they are really being hypocrites, y'all. Some of the biggest hypocrites are found in the church. And so this is why you have to be very careful with some of these religious practices that they try to indoctrinate on the world, and on our people. Technically, we were not Christians to begin with. We were spiritual beings, but we did not believe in Christianity. That was something that was basically indoctrinated into us. And so we took it and kind of embraced it into our own religious practices, but we were not originally Christians, you all. All right. If you do some research on that, you'll find out. You can read a book called Stolen Legacy by George Smalls. I also would advise you to watch. There's a 4-part video that I watched by Dr. Phil Valentine, and he breaks it all the way down. It was about 4 hours long, but it was very enlightening, very awakening, and very informative for me. I've also listened to other melanated pastors talk about breaking away from some of these religious practices. And because they did that, they felt liberated. They felt freed from bondage, you all. So my thing is, if you're speaking about religion, it can't just work one way. If you think that you are a chosen people put on a pedestal, but you condone, some of the actions and some of the rhetoric and some of this hate speech that's been taking place in the chat section, you're no better than the person that you're pointing the finger at, right? So they really need to hold a mirror up to themselves. Just like Michael Jackson said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. That's what they need to do. I'm asking him to change his ways. He was very woke. Shout out to MJ, Michael Jackson, one of the most famous people that walked this globe. Nobody else has been as famous as Michael Jackson until this day. That man has surpassed 3, 4 to 5 generations. I was speaking with third graders, a Hispanic third grader that is so excited about Michael Jackson. He knows all the dance moves. He did the spin. He did the kick in the air. He has an autographed Michael Jackson autobiography by Michael Jackson, some type of book he had signed, an autograph signing of Michael Jackson. He had the cassette tapes. He's very much a Michael Jackson fan. So that lets you know the fabric in which runs through our DNA. When you have the ability to be that talented and to touch that many people on all these different continents, and these young children in third grade couldn't be no more than 8 years old, still knows about this man that died in 2010. That child wasn't even alive when Michael was alive or born. So they always like to erase our history, erase, our influence and steal from it, remix it, and, say it was theirs. When we talk about music and culture, when we talk about blues and music, when we talk about even country music, people are, very triggered because K. Michelle and Beyonce wanted to do a country album, but country is something that melanated people were doing anyway. And see, this is the thing that they don't know because they don't research history. They don't even begin to understand how far back history goes and, how much we have poured into the cultural fabric of the United States and this entire globe. So anything that we do, they're always going to ridicule it, criticize it, make us seem that we don't know what we're talking about. They resort to name calling because those are the best antics that they can do at this point. They have a very low level IQ. And what they try to do, because, they try to attack your intelligence quotient, telling you that you don't have any intelligence, you don't have any intellect, you're ignorant, you're ghetto. But clearly, as I sit here before you, people can tell that I'm not ghetto. I didn't grow up in the hood. I'm not a part of a gang. I don't do black on black violence. But this is the rhetoric that they're going to push in the narrative that they're going to create in the chat. They're going to say that I'm a single mother, which I'm not. They're going to say that I have no father, which clearly on yesterday's live stream, I let you hear my conversation with my father, because I was talking to him the other night about politics, and he was giving me his account about Donald Trump sending all of the generals over to Quantico. He said that he felt like that was very dangerous to do, and he did not agree with that decision. And you also heard this Caucasian male say the same sentiments, right? But because it comes from a melanated person, it's not good enough. Now, if it came from a Caucasian person, then it's relevant, right? So this is the hypocrisy with these people. It's like they're insane, and it's like they have a sense of insanity and mental instability in their brains, right? So you can tell the truth to them and they won't accept it because it's coming from someone that they don't like. But if one of their own says it, they're going to shut up and be quiet because they don't want to talk about the truth and the reality. They don't like Tim Wise. Why? Because Tim Wise exposes them and he tells the truth about their history. That's why they don't like him, and they call him all these names like a leftist and he's this and he's that. All the name calling does not erase history. All the name calling still will not negate the truth and the facts that are staring them in their face. And they're going to turn red until they can't turn red anymore, right? With this truth that's going to be facing them. So that is what it is. All right. Let me see. You said Trump is a Mason, Andrea? I'm sure he probably is Masonic. You said Donald Trump said the man who caved in Nancy Pelosi's husband's head was a patriot and asked that someone would bail him out of jail. Live at a rally. You said Islam is a satanic religion? Okay. Somebody said Rob Taylor said to Tony, no, he didn't. Go listen to his actual words instead of what other people say about him. Let me see. Frank Robinson said, I'm looking for a side dude. If that makes you feel better, Frank, what are you looking for? A side? Are you looking for a side female? Why are you so worried about what I'm looking for? And if I'm looking at all? Right. You see, and they become very fascinated with people's personal lives and personal affairs. It's like they have to try to find something to try to pick you apart about. And this is really like the way that they think. Like they can't find anything else, so they'll just make up some stuff, right? Just generally start saying stuff like, "Oh, you're looking for a side dude." Like, what about me talking about Trump and about the history of the country and about the mass shootings that have been taking place? What does that have to do with anything? See, they're very irrelevant because they're hit dogs howling and they're triggered like they always are. Antonio said, I don't know what to tell you, Rob Taylor. Let me see. These evangelical Christians are crazy. Evangelistic, I don't know, but the I can't think of the word for it. Christians are crazy. Try living in objective reality, Tony, instead of lying. Okay, he said, but sure. Double tap that screen. Like the video, y'all, if you like the video. Subscribe if you want to. Like the stream. Thank you for that, Lonesome Dove. Demons is just an excuse. These people are just evil themselves, says Kim West. I think they have some demonic energy in them. Like, because I'm trying to think who wants to do this savagery behavior, who would actually go out here and just attack people just in the name of attacking them because they have a belief or an idea. But this is what's going on, Kim West. Sorry to tell you, this is the madness that's going on. Ever since they have arrived to this, country, we've had to deal with these issues. We've had to deal with this white on white violence. We've had to deal with this white on black violence. We've had to deal with them silencing our history. We've had to deal with them infiltrating their narratives into our history, lying to our youth and our children and our future generation. We just have to deal with so much, all the things that they do, and they just never want to take accountability for it. And, they always want to say that we feel victimized and we feel oppressed and everything like that. And even when their own people tells the truth on them, they just get mad, y'all, and they just start attacking. Let's keep going, y'all. Donnie Brown said, keep doing your thing. Shout out to Donnie Brown. I'm definitely going to keep doing what I do. You said, thank you, sister, for sharing the news. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You said, maybe I shouldn't report it. Bob Fisher, maybe you should get out of the chat. Muhammad Ali said it best, says Antonio. Ooh. You said, bro, shut up. Why would Mormon missionaries counsel with Black folk if they considered them lesser? Ross, that's something you need to go find out and ask the Mormon church. Okay? You're asking the wrong person. I don't subscribe to your religion. I don't subscribe to your religious practices. And I don't subscribe to the Mormon churches. I don't subscribe to your indoctrination. So you need to go have that conversation with the people that introduced it. Okay? You said I'm 100% right, Ricky Alston. You said, tell us you never looked at one piece of factual evidence in your life. I'm looking at the factual evidence. All I got to do is walk outside and look at what goes on in real life, Rob Taylor. Maybe you're delusional enough to think that this stuff doesn't exist. Yeah. It was about transgender violence, says J.R. Rogers. Is it snowing in here, y'all? Are the snowflakes falling to the ground? Quit crying, Rob. The snowflake is the one who can't accept basic reality. That's what I'm saying. They are delusional. They are delusional, and they try to paint this white narrative like they don't do anything incorrectly. And that's clearly not the case here. And just because we're talking about it, they're upset about it. You said it wasn't a transgender. Stop lying. You called me a child. Maybe I'm a child of God. Isn't that what you claim, Rob Taylor? I'm a child of God. Oh, goodness. They are sick, y'all. You said, yes, I do defend reality because I live in reality. Keep spreading truth, sister. Don't ever let others change that. They can never change what the divine creator has put here, right? They can never. This is why they try to erase all of our history. When we talk about the chiseling of the noses on the pharaohs, because, there are certain phenotypes that we have and that they don't have, right? When we talk about the lightening of the skin and a lot of these, places where you have the Catholic churches bowing down to the Black Madonna and Child. Let me show them a picture. Oh, they're probably going to click off because they don't want to see that. Catholic man bows down to Black Madonna and Child. They literally worship Black beings, but they would never want you to see these images, right? Because they always want us to feel that we are inferior and that they are superior. Okay, I'm telling you, they secretly know the truth about us, and they study us more than we study ourselves. Okay, they study us more than we study ourselves. That's why melanated people need to get into doing some research and learning about real history and not this indoctrination that they keep feeding us in these schools out here. Okay. All right. So this is your, now if you can see in the distance, those are not white people in this picture here. These are white people, and they are worshiping that. This image tells it all, but because they like to whitewash the narrative, and they like to, make us seem like we're not a part of real true history, and they are not, stealing from us, they're going to always paint themselves as being the ones that we should venerate and celebrate, right? They're going to always do that. Y'all, they have people still out here putting up Caesar Borgia in their dining room. Caesar Borgia was a criminal, y'all. That is the image of Jesus that everybody sees when they go to these churches. That is what you see when you see the 12 disciples sitting at that table. So what have they done? They have debased Christianity. Since they believe in Christianity so much, their own religion, they have actually tainted it, y'all, that you would actually put Caesar Borgia, a criminal, in place of Jesus. This is the savagery in which they do. And they don't want to talk about it, y'all. Okay? They don't want to talk about it. But he was a criminal. He committed a lot of crimes as well. All right? They don't like these narratives to come out. But we got to talk about the truth, because if the truth never gets out and they keep telling a lie and lie over and over and over again, people are going to believe these lies, y'all. Okay? He was not prominent. Okay? Because you go back and you do your digging and your research, that man was a criminal. And this is who they paint, saying that it's Jesus. And they have a lot of people still holding up that image all across these churches. This is how bad they lie, y'all. All right. So that image that you see, that is not the real Jesus that they're talking about. The Jesus that they describe in that Bible says a man with bronze skin. Bronze skin does not look like Caucasian skin. Bronze is bronze, y'all. So Brown Girls Are Beautiful celebrates bronze beauties, caramel cuties, and golden glowers. Bronze is the color of bronze people. That's not talking about a Caucasian, right? And hair of wool does not look curly and straight. But because they like to remix everything and steal, this is what you get, a bunch of mixture of lies. They remix it and give it back to you, like they do with everything else. Like they came over here, conquered the land, stole it basically, and then they want to sell it back to you. Take your religious practices, remix it, steal from it, and then give it back to you. That's all they ever do. Take your music, take certain things from your culture, say it was them, your inventions, you all. Let's talk about the inventions, because Ford stole that idea. All that he did was mass produce the car, right? And then he invented Ford. But when they talk about these inventions out here, they stole so many people's ideas. So many people came up with inventions. They don't even want to talk about it. Right now, the reason that we have air conditioning and people are able to sit in, their houses with air conditioning units is attributed to a melanated man. They don't want to talk about that. They want to keep telling us about Rosa Parks gave up her seat, which was a lie. She was not the first one to do that. It was Claudette Colvin, a 15-year-old. And at the time, they did not want to give her credit because she was pregnant and darker skinned and darker complected. So a 42-year-old by the name of Rosa Parks was accredited with doing this because she was lighter complected. It was colorism. And they keep pushing this narrative every time, every February for Black history, which we know Black history is every single day because we are a part of this world every single day. And they want to act like we don't have any intellect or any intelligence. There are so many inventions that go unnoted by melanated people. So while people want to sit here and sit on their high horses and not give the accreditation to melanated people, most of you, in fact, the entire globe would not exist because the first signs of human civilization came from Africa. All right. And they were not populated with Europeans in Africa. So if you hate melanated people so much, and you hate people of African descent so much, and you hate melanated and Native Americans so much, then like I said yesterday, you hate yourself, because the fabric of who we are runs through all of our DNA, whether you like it or not. Unfortunately, they say that we are all brothers and sisters. But you know what? Because of your hatred for everybody but your own, you sit here with a foul mouth and savagery, acting in debauchery, y'all. Just savages, y'all. Just sitting here being mad at the world, always blowing up somebody's country, always committing white on white violence. Like, if you're at the top of the totem pole politically and you have and control all of the finances and the resources, why are you still so bothered and hostile towards everybody on this globe? It makes no sense. And like I said, the universe is getting tired of it. Okay. This is why you see them attacking each other, y'all. This is why they're attacking each other. You said, Britain has me blocked. I can't see his comments. We're not worried about it. We're not worried about Britain. Ricky said, please keep teaching you right. Thank you, Ricky. Grand Rising Illuminati, what's good? Thank you so much, Long. I love beautiful minds. That's what I love. Looking marvelous as usual, because I'm going to be going out here to make America great again, y'all. I will be working with the children of all ethnic backgrounds, including Caucasians, Middle Easterns, Hispanics, melanated children, Asians, going out here really making a difference. A lot of these people that sit behind a keyboard and type all of this, nonsense, that's all they're going to be good at doing, is spewing hate. So, for them to come over here and say that I'm a racist and I feel like this, I don't care. Their thoughts, their views and opinions do not validate me. Okay. And that's how y'all have to think. You have to push forward, walk forward. Melanated people don't fall into their antics. The hit dogs, let them holler, let them sit where they are, give them what they're worth, nothing. Pay no energy to them. They're not worth the energy. We've given enough energy to them. And even with our energy, they still can't create anything of their own without stealing from us. Okay. No, I'm not spreading hate. I'm spreading facts. The people that are spreading hate are the people going out here committing these mass shootings. Now that's spreading hate, Rob Taylor. Why don't you go talk to the people, the creatures that look like you, and tell them to stop shooting up each other. Stop shooting and stop committing all this white on white crime and all this, white on white wars, the warfare that's going on. Yeah, that's what they said. They said he was carrying out Kirk's message, Ross. Mankind is more evil than the devil. It's the spiritual working on them. Yeah, it's a spiritual warfare. When we come into this world, we didn't come here just to live in a physical realm. We came here to handle the spiritual warfare that's going down. We came here as warriors. Some of us did anyway. We are spiritual warriors walking in human flesh. We are ultimate warriors walking in human flesh. We came here for a reason. And a lot of people don't even understand the true magnitude of what their purpose is. Right? So you're going to get ridiculed and attacked when you don't think how they want you to think, right? Because you're not indoctrinated into their rhetoric any longer. You've awakened, you woke up. And when you wake up and you're enlightened, you'll never go back, right? So they're mad because they can't keep you under their control. And when they take your mind and they indoctrinate it, then you're under their control. But see, a freed mind, that's why they're always attacking your mind. That's why they attack the youth with all these narratives in the textbooks about the truth, right? So Thanksgiving is coming up. They're going to feed that same narrative to the children in the school system again about the Pilgrims and Indians coloring turkeys. But you all melanated people know that we're not going to sit at the dinner table and feast at the slaughtering of our ancestors. We're not doing that anymore. We're not falling into their pagan holidays any longer. We're not believing in the Satan holiday called Christmas, which is really Saturnalia, involving pedophilic behavior, sitting your child in a man dressed in a red devil suit. We're not doing that any longer, right? And usually these men are Caucasians, right? We're not sitting our children in the laps of strangers. Why would we do that? Why does Christmas have to be associated with children? Well, let me tell you why. Because back in Germany, there was a such thing called Saint Krampus. Saint Nicolaus is what they celebrate. I said this the other day. Y'all, they sacrifice children to this deity named Moloch. Okay? This is where a lot of your holidays come from. They remix it. Like I told you, they remix it, they twist it all up and give it back to you. And people don't do research. So they follow these ritualistic practices. And when you follow a ritualistic practice, you create an environment and you build up a spiritual alignment with some of these things, right? You can create curses doing this type of stuff because it's a ritual. You're doing it every single year at the same time, following the same patterns. We have to get out of that. When they drink the blood of Jesus, calling this grape juice, when they break of the bread and it represents the body, y'all, that sounds a little satanic to me. Those are just my thoughts. You're drinking blood, you're eating flesh. I mean, drink of my blood, eat of my flesh. That sounds like cannibalism. But if you go eat another human being, what are they going to say about you, Jeffrey Dahmer? You know, so I'm just like trying to understand, why are 26 chapters missing from the Bible? What is it that King James and them was trying to hide? Why is the Bible copyrighted? Why was William Shakespeare commissioned to help write part of the Bible? And why do we call Jesus when really in Hispanic descent they call it Jesus? Because definitely Jesus is Jesus. Y'all remember one time I didn't realize, and I was working at this bank and I had to call one of the accounts for the bank, and it was a Hispanic person that answered, and the name was Jesus. And I said, can I speak to Jesus? And I was much younger, y'all. And the lady said, you mean Jesus? Jesus isn't here. He went back to his own country. So like what they would do is they would get lines of credit, run it up and leave the country, because they would give lines of credit and credit cards to, people and stuff like that. So we had to call these people about their accounts, y'all. But yeah, so I just find it so ironic that English speaking people says Jesus when clearly it's Jesus. All right. There are Hispanic people are named Jesus, y'all. That's why I say Jesus. I don't say Jesus. Let me see. Rob Taylor, I really don't care what you got to say. Stop blaming the devil for evil people. Antonio, how many blacks are killed every day by inner city violence? That's all y'all come back with about this inner city violence. I'm talking about your people right now. Stop deflecting, Ross. Stop deflecting. Stop deflecting, okay? No, I can't fathom it, Ross. I can't fathom it. I can't fathom the unaliving of the things that y'all do on a mass large scale, and I can't fathom the fact that y'all keep going into these schools with these mass, unalivings of children. I can't fathom that either. I can't fathom the fact that Charlie Kirk's alleged death overshadowed the death of I think it was some children in either Minnesota or Denver. I don't know, because two of them happened in the same month, I believe. They just keep doing the same thing over and over again. No, I can't fathom it, Ross. I don't understand how you don't understand that, but of course you wouldn't understand. You said PTSD is a dangerous, untreated situation. If that's the case, Antonio, all of Native Americans and indigenous people in this land should have suffered with PTSD by now. But do you see us going out doing this to other people? No, you don't. You said it's the evil from the dark water that possess him. Everything is energy. It is energy. It definitely is energy. You said that was intense. You said you're entitled to your opinion. All are inside their minds. Sounds about right. Assuming without checking, jumping to conclusions is thinking in error. You said you must be defended at so you. I don't know what that means. There is right and wrong, and right and left. Left equals wrong. All right, keep up with that idea and see how far it gets you in life, Reg 3305. See how that gets you. See, they always want to be divisive, y'all, right? But I call amongst unity for our people. They're the ones being divisive. You just saw what Reg posted, y'all. He said, basically, Everybody look at his comment. There is right and wrong, and right and left. Left equals wrong. This is the thinking of these people. So I think somebody earlier asked me how. I can't fathom. I don't understand. Why did they do this, Chambers? This is why. They got this type of thinking right here. And it stems back from that Mormon church. You know, them telling people that they're the ones that are superior and they have this imperialistic mindset, right? They what are the 7 deadly sins, y'all? Pride. They have a lot of pride. You ever heard of white pride? So in their Bible that they supposedly believe, that's one of the 7 deadly sins. Okay? It's also greed, lust, envy, jealousy, all these things that they exhibit, the fabric of their character. This is why they are the way they are. And they think that they're right in their behavior and their rhetoric. And clearly they are incorrect, y'all. So we just have to sit here and let them ruin themselves at this point. You said the FBI classifies a mass shooting event as 4 or more people killed. You can look back years ago and 95% are Black. Ross, unfortunately, you're incorrect, but I'm going to let you think you're right because, you know, they always think they're right. You have to appease their ego because he sits in pride, right? He has a thing about pride, which is their ego. So you have to stroke their egos because if you don't stroke their egos, they feel insulted, right? They feel very insulted. You said you must be defended at all costs. I'm already defended, y'all. I'm defended by my spirits, angels, ancestors, and my divine creators. I know this for a fact. You said, oh, I can't see Antonio anymore. He must have not liked getting fact checked. That's what you think, Rob? I doubt it. She's a Black apologist and a white guilt advocate. I don't associate with the terminology of Black, Reg. If you knew anything about me, which you don't, I go by the term of melanated because Black has no nationality in my belief system. So no, I don't agree with what you're saying. The violence against Muslim Americans on 9/11 was disgusting. So Antonio, I remember that a lot of people during 9/11 were looking at people of the Muslim faith with a lot of hostility. But honestly, I don't even believe that they had anything to do with it. I don't. I think we were lied to again. I think that was a false flag from the research that I did. The fact that those buildings were built with detonators underneath and those buildings were demolished, just like you see in Las Vegas when they demolished those casinos. That's why the buildings fell down in like in a perfect line. It fell down and it collapsed upon itself. And also, if a plane were to run into a steel frame building, I think it would fall down. I don't think it would actually go all the way through. But they also said that before 9/11, there were people working on those buildings prior, weakening the structure of the building. All right. A lot of that took place as well. They're not going to tell you about that in the news. A lot of those people that were out there on the street said they heard a rumbling sound moments before the buildings collapsed. That's because underneath those detonation devices were going off. Those were detonators, y'all. And a lot of the people that were supposed to come out and speak about it and testify about it came up missing. Go back and fact check. They like to lie. They like to lie, y'all. You said you're African American and Southern Italian, a revert 53-year-old Muslim woman, and the Quran teaches against this behavior. All right. Let's see. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Yes, indeed, judgment, because at this point, America has cursed itself. Antonio said, hey, Ross, you didn't back Antonio down. Antonio is still in the building. Y'all think somebody is worried about y'all. Nobody's worried. You won't even have a dialogue. You literally just wished a person dead over their comment. I don't know who wished you dead, Rob Taylor. You need to make sure you get your facts straight. Y'all going back and forth with each other in the comment section. You said, do you people need to hate another group of people to survive? They do, Antonio. It looks like they do. They are like vampires. Uh-oh. You said Zionism is bad, but not Judaism. Jesus loves you anyway. Okay. As an Islamist, what is an idolater? Idolater. If you want to learn about true Christianity, look into the Z, Jarvis blown up Reg 3305. You said they worship Moloch. Look into the Ethiopian Christian. They actually keep the Torah. Thank you for saying that, Andrea, because they have stolen so much from us. Quran, soon shall we cast terror into the hearts of the unbelievers, for they joined companions with Allah, for which he had sent no authority. Ross, they believe Jesus is boiling in hot. What? MJ tortured by I don't know what that means. Quotes from the Quran. There's no such thing as an Islamist. You fan quote gross lines from the Bible. It's all the same, my guy. They're the ones driving the division. He wants to know what is an idolater or idolater is what he wrote. Was an illiterate cross-dressing woman beating pedophile. He said, bro, plus he was white. He said, what the F are you talking about? He said, uneducated people just regurgitating what they've heard. Yes, people don't research anything. I saw nothing but blame Israel, so guess it's just your algorithm. I don't know who's blaming Israel. Does it go back to Wakanda? You just being silly right now. Who was behind the transatlantic slave trade? Asked Ross. Why don't you do your research and find out? I care about the safety. Thank you, David. I care about the safety and integrity of the children, not entertainers' legacy. I also agree that I care about the children. I don't care if you care about the entertainer's legacy. My point is, the narrative was that he superseded many generations, David, which you probably don't want to actually take into consideration what I was saying. Because they basically steal from our cultural practices and a lot of things that we do, but they don't like to give credit for it. That was the premise of that conversation. Separation of church and state. It's just how the evolution of intellect has progressed. They have a disease in the heart. Truly, they do. You said the church shooting was because of politics. Name calling is juvenile. Time-wise is Jewish. Okay. Andrea is called the YT hate. So freaking sick of megas inventing the facts around shootings. Greetings, Canary Ken. How are you? Not white hate, but calling people to account. Thank you, Cottage. All religions are satanic. They're not even a chosen item. They're converts. Okay. Let's see. I'm looking for your car. Oh, you looking for your car keys? Well, you might have to get another set of keys made. Go read the Torah to know what an idolater is, or idolater is, excuse me. They are red imposters. Jew comes from or is similar to jewels and jewelry. Okay. Does Islam call for the death of them? Muhammad was married to a 9-year-old. You read the Old Testament. Canary, get off here. Again, people not doing research, just regurgitating what they've heard. Let's see. Who is Muslim? Muslims beat their women and cross-dresser. What? Some people have a disease in their hearts. Who did the Crusades? What are y'all talking about? Y'all going at it in the chat section. No, nothing like what happened in Charlotte with that Ukrainian girl. Yeah, I spoke about that Ukrainian girl, but that was an attack on one person. These people killed about 5 people at once at the church and injured 8, so mass shootings again, and then all up in the schools. So yeah, that was one person versus how many people died with these mass shootings? Andrea, what you mean, sickle cell or rickets? Let me see. I don't want to hear the Christians are the good ones. They like to hide behind religion, Antonio. And that's the thing. You can try to hide behind religion all you want, but if you still have a hateful spirit, a hateful soul, and you think that you're pure and you think you're right, it's not going to really matter much, because eventually this universe and everything, the law of this universe is going to correct all of that. Okay, so they don't have to believe. They don't have to believe, that they need to fix themselves. It's going to happen anyway. And that's why we're seeing this white on white violence. Lonesome Dove said, oh, you said get off social media and go pick up some books. Can you even read? Oh, Andrea, what is going on with you and Lonesome? Y'all are getting into it. Who enslaved all of Africa? Oh my goodness. They changed the anti-Black thing in the Mormon church. He said he's reading now. Our dear host, you're very lovely. Thank you. I don't want y'all, Andrea and Lonesome Dove, I like you both. I don't want y'all going at it in the chat section. Please become friends for me. Let's unite, y'all, please. Let's unite. I don't want y'all going at it because of religion. This was just a dialogue and a discourse, y'all. I don't want y'all attacking each other. Okay? Can we all just get along, please? Please. Oh, no. Oh, thank you, Lonesome Dove. Lonesome sent you a heart. Thank you for that. I am so behind, y'all. It's 10:35. This was at 10:06. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get through these comments. Okay. So I'm so behind. What's good, Nicole? Trans people commit violence at a lower proportional rate than other groups. Yeah, I don't think trans people are out here attacking anybody for real, for real. I don't think they are. Let me keep going. Positive vibes has come back into the building, y'all. Weren't you here yesterday? Oh, goodness. Beating wives are different. I don't believe you should beat anybody, y'all. All right, y'all. I'm just trying to get through y'all comments. Y'all are going back and forth. I wouldn't trust them to teach us. And by the way, you are gorgeous, says Millie. Thank you, Millie. I also believe that we need to start homeschooling children again, or homeschooling people before the Rockefellers, put children in the school system so that people could work in the Industrial Revolution. I think that when children are homeschooled, they elevate a lot faster. Children really are like sponges. Their brains are like sponges. They learn quickly, and it's never too much information that you can take in. And I really think sometimes children are done a disservice by going to these schools because there are so many behavior issues that take place. And then on some levels, some children are like on a higher level and they have to go at a slower pace because not all children are on the same level. So it really takes, when they say it takes a village, it does take a village to raise children. Y'all remember back in the day, now see, because me and my sister, we didn't really grow up around our family. So really we were with our parents most of the time. But back in the day, people used to like be with their cousins, be with their aunts, be with their grandmother. And neighbors would watch out for your children. Now we have to be real careful because you can barely trust anyone. But it used to be like a community vibe where you looked out for the neighborhood children. And I just think we really, if we could get back to that, that would be awesome. But y'all, it's just like an evil energy that has overcome this planet. It's like this very dark, heavy energy that I really wish would dissipate. And I'm not sure why it feels that way, but it does seem like the more and more as time goes on, the more evil, dark, and sinister the world seems like it becomes. Let's keep going. Y'all. You said you're not a Mormon. Okay. Y'all are talking about Mary. So y'all believe in the spontaneous birth theory? Do you think you believe in that? Yeah. Well, I don't worship that image now that I know the truth. You said once you have more than three wives, that gets unruly. Yeah, females can't get along. Like they're always in competition. So if you have more than one wife, I don't know how you're doing it because I know how females are. They're very competitive. Even if you're not trying to compete with them, secretly, y'all, somewhere in their head, they're competing with you. I'm telling you what I know. That's just the nature of females. You said the fact that y'all worry about what Jesus looks like is insanity. It's not insanity. Your people were worried about what he looks like. That's why they tried to whitewash him. We're not worried about it. Y'all were worried about it. We're just fact checking because we're talking about the words that are written in that Bible. It says hair of wool, skin of bronze. We're talking about what they're describing. So that's not insanity. Y'all are the ones that's insane because you had to go and change the image, right? That's what's insane about it. You care about color so much that you believe everyone who was ever amazing was black. Even more dumb. You sound dumb because I didn't say everyone that has melanated complexion was amazing. When we know that terrorists comes in all races, shapes, and sizes. That never came out of my mouth. So you sound very ignorant because now you're trying to speak for me. I'm articulate and educated enough to speak for myself. I certainly don't need someone that says positive vibes for Charlie Kirk to speak for me because we know that Charlie Kirk misspoke quite a few times on his statistics and his facts. So if you're positive vibing for Charlie Kirk, go read a book, okay? Jesus was a Nazarene, an Afro-Asiatic. Sorry about that. You said it's not black either. Who drew that picture of Jesus? Same person doing art in the Vatican. They were gay lovers. Jesus is black, not gay, white. Ooh. Y'all are going at it. Black braids were taken from the Nords. It's called a Nordic braid. You're laughing. Ice cream mason. Okay. Black braids. Braids aren't black. Y'all are arguing about braids in the chat section. Braids aren't black, y'all. So to all my melanated females out there, if you got your hair braided, that's not black, okay? That didn't come from you. Because why do we know? Because positive vibes for Charlie Kirk told us so. Y'all, oh my goodness. Braids are not black, y'all. That's one thing that we learned from positive vibes for Charlie Kirk. Everybody pin that comment so that we are educated in this chat section over here because he got to teach us people some lessons because he thinks that black people are ignorant, as they so called it in the chat section. I can't. You said Charlie Kirk was a hero, unlike you, Tyler. I'm glad he's your hero. Go worship him. Why don't you go to his memorial and go worship him, okay? Since that's your savior. I'm a hero out here saving lives, working with these children, y'all, making America great. I'm out here making America great, y'all. Oh my gosh. He said braids are not black. You said make what you said make sense, and I'll read it again. Y'all hate yourselves, then anyone else hate y'all. I don't hate myself, but apparently y'all hate each other because y'all are out here doing all these mass white on white shootings. Sounds like hatred to me. African Americans claim ownership of that style of braid, but it originated in Scandinavian countries. Okay, so let me see some Scandinavians braiding their hair. Okay. Gosh, canary. You said there are 2,000 types of intricate braid styles in African setting. Nordic braids are quite simplistic, though. Very nice. What's good, Cricket? Oh, my goodness. Oh, gosh. Oh, they are so mad, y'all. Look at Charlie Kirk in the comment section. Y'all do most of the wrong and all that. Why there's black fatigue. Y'all should have white fatigue. Actually, y'all are going through white fatigue right now. Just look at your president. Why are they having a secret meeting in Quantico right now? See if you can figure that out, Charlie Kirk. This your first time here, Canary. I hope you have fun. I want y'all to enjoy yourselves. Oh gosh. Yes, indeed. You know what? America was never great from the time y'all got over here. Okay. America was never great from the time y'all got over here. Charlie Kirk was never great from the time y'all got here. You like my earrings, Tony? I love my earrings. I love big dangly earrings. Um, yes, I love it. You don't like my nose? Well, why are you over here, Tony? Oh, you think you're Tony Danza? Tony Danza, y'all. This person thinks that they are Tony Danza. Tony Danza, isn't that an Italian that used to play on Who's the Boss? You will never be a Tony Danza, but I'm glad you wish that you were Tony Danza. Why are you so angry, y'all? Thank you, Canary. I look good on my mama. I look good. You remember that guy, Charlie Boy? Charlie Boy was a rapper, y'all. He had this song called I Look Good on My Mama. Shout out to Charlie Boy. Charlie Boy, what they call him. Oh, these people think that they are going to like get a rise out of me, but they're not. Thank you, Canary. I try to spread beauty to the world, but unfortunately, y'all, I might have to go get my hater blockers, my shades that they don't like. I might have to go get my hater blockers because, it's so much hate in the chat section, but it's so much love as well that, I just wanted to embrace all the love and block out all the hate. Oh, you said that is the kind of person I keep my family away from. She lives in her safe white neighborhood. We steal from y'all. Y'all, I don't necessarily live in a white neighborhood. I live in a mixed neighborhood. Okay. I don't want to live around all of y'all. Quite frankly, I don't want to be surrounded by y'all. I went to an all white school for 1 year and it was horrific. Okay. I prefer not to be surrounded by a whole bunch of y'all. Honestly, I like diversity. And I spoke about that on the channel as well. I come from a multicultural background. That's what I grew up around. So if you don't understand that, John Doe, which you have no identity, so perfect name for you. Yeah, get your facts together. I'm not even reading that. Let me see. Let's go. They mad, y'all. They are so mad. You said I'm unhinged. The unhinged are the ones out here unaliving people by the droves. Why don't you go address those people? They're the unhinged ones. I'm not out here unaliving people. Y'all people are over there having these mass attacks all up in the schools and stuff. Oh, goodness. Okay, you don't like the Democrat Party. You said, she says we stole from them. All I can say is basketball and football. I'm not really even into basketball and football like that, John Doe, but try again. No, y'all actually stole. If you rewind the video, you'll find out. Go do some research. I don't have time for it. You're too ignorant for me. You're not even worth it. Y'all too ignorant. Let's keep going. Y'all too ignorant for me. I can't even come down to your low level. Oh, you said I'm light skinned? Y'all, I'm not light skinned. Look at me. I am not light skinned. I'm brown skinned. And it might be, I have on one light. No, I have on two lights in here, but I'm not light skinned at all. I am very much brown skinned. Look at my arm. I'm brown skinned, y'all. Brown girls are beautiful over here. You said you light skinned as hell. There was some mixing going on in your family tree. You got at least 20% Caucasian and you're laughing. And if I do have Caucasian in me, how did it get there? How did it get there? And what does my skin complexion have to do with anything? You're mad because I'm telling the truth. You're mad because I'm telling the truth. And as a matter of fact, I talked about this on the channel. I don't have anything to hide. My blood cousin on my daddy's side did a DNA test. Now, I don't know how accurate it is, so I'm going off of his results. He said there was 30% European in the DNA. He said that whoever our great-great-grandmother was, I believe, I forgot how many greats it was, but she actually was married to a European, and he left her all this land. This is the narrative he's telling me. But also, he said there was a percentage of Eastern Asian in the DNA. Hence, I don't know how true that is. And then he also said, and if you didn't know, melanated people, we are Asiatic as well. Okay. There's also Native American, because my great grandmother, if you see her, she looks like a real Indian. She has the real brown, bronze skin and the hair of an Indian, like a real Native American. And every time she saw me, she would always say, I look just like a Native American Indian. And then also we have 70%, which they say Congo. I don't know how they got this. I don't know if they're making this stuff up, but I'm just telling you what my cousin said on my daddy's side of the family. And my cousin and I, we have a resemblance, like we look alike. People used to think we were brother and sister when we were younger. So the fact that you're saying that I'm light skinned as hell, you're very inaccurate and very incorrect. You just don't see me in person. And if you didn't know, melanated people lighten up. Our skin complexions change throughout the seasons of the year. So now it's not as hot outside. Sometimes our skin brightens up. My mother told me that we change complexions. She was like, oh, you look real light right now. So in case you didn't know that, that's what happens. So I don't know what you're laughing at. Says, so you're advocating for slavery? You said that a black man ghost you. Why you so hateful? I'm sorry. I'm just seeing y'all comments, and y'all are so entertaining right now. Oh my gosh. You said good luck being happy with all the hate in your heart. I'm over here laughing. What type of hate do I have? I am actually being entertained by the chat section right now. You said Lone needs a dictionary. Lone is very educated, and he's very knowledgeable. Oh, you're defending Christmas. Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, Tannenbaum. Oh, Tannenbaum. That's German, y'all. That's what they call the Christmas tree in German. Oh, Tannenbaum. So yeah, like I said, do some research into your history. Saturnalia is satanic. All right. Somebody by the name of S that has no identity thinks that I only have 26 brain cells between my ears, y'all. I think he wants some attention. It's like when a middle schooler watches their first documentary and wants to argue everything. I'm not even arguing. I'm laughing at y'all because y'all sound ignorant. That's why I'm laughing at y'all, because y'all look and sound ignorant. Oh, y'all are too funny. I didn't have to go through slavery to exist, John Doe. Okay, so shut up. You know what? My divine creator, if my divine creator wanted me to come into existence, regardless of what brought me here, I was going to be here anyway. Let's keep going. Notice she won't answer the ancestor question. First of all, John Doe, I hadn't gotten to your ancestor question, and you wanted me to be realistic. I'm not going to sit here and lie to the audience. Okay. People ask me all the time, what are you? I had people thinking I was Hawaiian when I was in like middle school. I had people thinking I was Chinese when I lived in Germany. They always used to think that I was Asian because my eyes were squinchy. I get those from my grandmother. And then my other grandmother has eyes that go like this. And then I had people asking me, are you Ethiopian? Because you look Ethiopian. My sister and I, they would always say, y'all look like Ethiopians. Just the other day, this guy from Libya that I met thought, he was like, what part of Africa are you from? And I get Africans asking me this all the time. So apparently I have the resemblance of someone and something from different continents. Okay. And that is nothing that I can control. You know, so you're not going to shame my lineage in any way. And I'm not saying that my ancestry was raped. I said that my cousin said that our great whatever grandmother was married to a Caucasian. And somehow he left her a lot of land, because I remember my daddy talking about all this land that his family had. And somehow they got swindled out of a lot of their land. Now, a lot of melanated and Native American people did have a lot of land, and it was taken from them. Y'all also need to research the Trail of Tears, because y'all people are very fictitious and phony. All right, let's keep going. You said positive. You love us brown men. Admit it. You're upset you got dumped and spewing animosity this way. I don't discriminate. Adam and Eve, y'all. The Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden. Where do you think that took place, y'all? You said you sit here and lecture doing research and can't bother to do one on Google. I don't need Google to be my point of reference. Everybody knows that in school we were taught that Google is not always a valid reference. You actually need to go get articles of credit, and you also need to actually look at like books and documentaries. So Google is not the end all be all. All right. What about the Black Hebrew Israelites? What about them, Ross? No, you're a joke. But you're over here again, because weren't you here yesterday? I'm laughing at y'all because y'all are the joke. Make families great again. That's right. How do we make families great again? By debunking their lies, y'all. By debunking their lies. 9/11 was an inside job. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. No, actually, since Joseph wants to be a racist in the comment section, they didn't come from all primitive tribes in sub-Saharan Africa with no written language or history. That is not true. And actually, you came from the Negroids, Joseph. So if they are Negroids, then what do you call yourself? Because the first civilization, and a Caucasian teacher taught me this when I took my linguistics class in college, that the first human civilization came from Africa, and all humanity derives from Africa. So you are a Negroid yourself, you idiot. They think they saying something. They're not saying anything. That's why I'm laughing at them, because they're funny and ignorant. Yes, they, he, she, it. You know how y'all like to use these pronouns now. We got to be real careful. So I say they. Oh, not this question again. Who is they? Who is they? If you got to ask that question, then chances are more than likely I'm speaking to you. Okay, so as a matter of fact, let me just say it. You, okay? Rasputin, you. Does that make you feel better? Which pronoun I use? Would you like for me to call you sir or ma'am? Which one would make you feel better? Because I want to make sure I show some respect, even though you're very disrespectful. Where are these comments coming from? It's coming from these hateful demons, y'all. These Luciferians that say that they believe in Christianity is coming from them. Oh. Oh gosh. You said melatonin. John, though, you sound dumb again. Melatonin? Or you mean melanated? Somebody needs to tell her to stop thinking my melatonin wife, which I doubt you have a melanated wife, is laughing at her as right now. Show us your. I don't need to show you my neighbors, you dummy. Why would I show you my neighbors? Like, there's a such thing as right to privacy, and I'm not going to go and try to show you some melanated neighbors to prove where I live. You think somebody needs to be validated by you to prove a point, which I don't have any interest in doing. I don't need to do that. Why don't you go show us your melanated wife? Why don't you do that? I Got Money says she lives in a white neighborhood. I didn't say I don't want to live around y'all. I don't live in a white neighborhood. It is a diverse, mixed neighborhood. We have white people living here. We have Asians living here. We have Africans living here. As a matter of fact, my next door neighbor is African, y'all. And they are from, I'm trying to think if they are from the Congo. because we were having a discussion, and I talked to them from time to time, and she was asking me to go to church with them, and I kind of hesitated for a second, and she was like, "Oh, you don't believe?" So I told her, I said, "It's just that I believe in unity and love, right? I believe in coming together in love and unity, but nobody is going to push the oppressors." Indoctrination of religion on me ever again, y'all. Now that I know how they twist stuff and lie, I just don't even want to be a part of their occultic practices. How am I? You think I'm hating? No, it's the other way around. You're actually hating us. You're the one that's hating. She is one that finally made it out. No, it's a lot of us that didn't come from that. So that's where you need to get your narrative together. Not everybody came from what you think we came from. And that you're making a very ignorant comment by even making that claim. So you see how they think. So the Mormon church lady was right. I told y'all this is where all this is coming from, because this is the nature of how they think, y'all. It's the savage way that they think. Oh goodness, y'all. Lone said, positive, every time you walk outside, the sun trying to destroy you. That's why you bleed and turn red. You're pink like swine. Jesus said, do not touch the swine. It is unclean. Oh, somebody has hate coming from them, Renee. They are culturally confused. Satan was invented by Christians. Who is Leo? You said you were Jesus, Vikings, Japanese, American Indians, Olmec. You were everyone, but everyone has broken you. I can see the inferior. I don't have an inferiority complex. Y'all have the inferiority complex, Ross, because y'all have to sit up here and pillage everything you come across. You can't just, have a reverence for Mother Nature. You have to actually go and pillage it. This is why the earth is suffering now, because of your people. Oh, get it right. Oh, goodness. Uh-oh. So Lone said, reading books, you watch YouTube all day instead. What a pig. Lonesome dope. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Y'all, they're upset for no reason at this point. They are just upset for no reason. Got to be careful today. You said you're good with one wife? Yes, Howard, one wife is enough. In my opinion, because women are a lot. I am a female. I know they are a lot. Reading books that I hate myself, y'all. I think that made him feel better. You gave me a like. I don't care if you do or you don't. All right, let's keep going. Yes, I do think that Kirk could have been sacrificed, but like I said, I think they're going to use this for their own narrative. All right, y'all, I'm trying to go down and go down. I'm already protected, Leroy. Tyler, I don't have mass shootings every day in my neighborhood. Get your facts together. If America was never great, why are people dying to get here? Because y'all sold these people a lie. Your people sold these people a lie. That's why they're dying to get here, because they think it's going to be something that is not. Okay. DEI was a terrible thing. Okay, well, that's your opinion, Tyler. I don't really care about your opinion, but you felt the need to express it. Why do so many Americans leave the USA for vacation or get foreign spouses? Because they want to, Leroy. And who are you calling an idiot? I know you're not talking to me. Thank you, Blake. Let's see. Hate is very expensive. Leroy Sinclair. DEI help white women more. DEI did help white women. They don't talk about that though. Yes, I'm sorry, Leroy. I attacked you incorrectly. I apologize for that. Yeah, I live in a mixed neighborhood, y'all. Are y'all blaming Tylenol? We're not even talking about Tylenol. I already answered my ethnicity, y'all. I already answered it. Thank you, Rudy. I'm not I'm not responding to ignorant stuff. Let's see. Yes, Native Americans are melanated people. Thank you for pointing that out, Miss L. You're American, that's it? Exactly right. Ooh. Oh, Leroy, who made you mad? Okay. Miss L said you hate your black self. Who's hating themselves? Blake said hello. You are very light-skinned and you've got strong European features. I don't think I have European features. Somebody just pointed out my nose. They said it was big. Look at my lips. They're very full. So I don't think I have European features. I don't think so. Miss L, that's why you said I hate myself. I'm kind of confused with your comment. I'm not talking about slavery. So who's talking about it? I'm trying to go through y'all comments before I get off here because I do have to leave in just a few minutes, y'all. You said you're right about Christmas. You got Valentine. Valentine was yes, Winston. That's very true. Valentine's Day is about that. Yes, it is. You said it was a cross-dressing woman. You don't know what my parents did, so you can get off my chat. You don't need to be speaking on something you don't know anything about. Let's see. It was a culture practice of the people at that time. All right, I'm trying to scroll through quickly, y'all. You don't want to accept that it was a culture practice. Make black families great. They assume all are poor. Let's keep going. You're laughing too. If you actually did read books from Babylon to Timbuktu, my family is great. We had issues, but I believe in working things out. Okay. Where did algebra come from? All right. Was a white, illiterate, cross-dressing lion woman. Okay. Muhammad said it's okay to beat your woman. Mary White, Barry White. Okay. A bidet? What in the world are y'all talking about? Hate doesn't solve anything. Hate does not solve anything. Reading books, I thought you were being mean to me. So if I came off incorrectly to you, then I will take it back. Okay. Kirk was cool as hell. Okay. You said I gave you a great laugh. Don't take it out on me because you being attacked. I'm not trying to take it out on you. If you're not attacking me, then I'm not attacking you. Ooh. Oh my gosh, y'all. I'm reading the comment section. Some of y'all are going in. I don't want to read some of these because it's really like, y'all are going in. Antonio. Oh goodness. I'll tell you these things, but first of all, you believe it. Oh goodness. Let's see. Let's see. You better watch it. I sure do. Means God is great all day, every day. All day, every day. Hashtag no days off. Jimmy got soul. Jimmy got soul. Jimmy got soul. Yeah, man. I'm sorry. I'm at 11:07 right now. Okay, I support your channel. That's why I said give you a like. Thank you, reading books. This dude got a damn AI woman talking. All right, anyway. So I got to the end of the chat section. We've been on here for 2 hours. Thank everybody that participated, joined, liked the video, and subscribed. Like I said, this channel is not for everyone. And so you might watch some of my stuff and you might want to not be here because I'm not going to apologize for, speaking the truth over here. I'm not going to apologize for things that I feel need to be corrected. That's the problem. We spend too much of our time feeding people's egos. So anyway, I'm going to look. She jumped up here to tell y'all bye. I am going to sign off. Haben Sie alles einen guten Tag. You all have a blessed day. I have to go out here and make America great, working with these children. And as always, continue to walk in your divinity, celebrate yourself. And until next time, you all stay blessed. Yes, take